Hi everybody, it's Peter Schiff. It is Friday, January 8th, 2010, and you'll have to excuse the hoarse sound of my voice. I've had a bad cough recently, and it seems to have coughed all the sound out of my voice. But anyway, if you can bear with me, I'll get through this video blog. I really only have one topic I kind of want to discuss today anyway, I guess, and that's the jobs numbers that came out today. The December non-farm factory payrolls dropped by 85,000 jobs. Now, a lot of people on Wall Street, a lot of economists were actually expecting the economy to gain jobs, which shows you just how clueless they are. This economy is going to continue to shed jobs because of all the regulations and all the taxes and all the spending and all the phony stimulus that the U.S. government is layering into the economy that is making us less productive and destroying jobs. You know, if you look within the jobs report that came out today, again, we continue the trend of losing goods production jobs. We lose jobs in manufacturing, yet the jobs we manage to gain are in the service sector, in finance, in government. These jobs are not as productive. They end up increasing the trade deficit because the people are collecting paychecks, but they're not producing things. And so we get a bigger trade deficit, we get a weaker dollar, we get more inflation. The economy is being undermined because the real productive jobs are being destroyed. You know, also in the jobs numbers today, the unemployment level held steady at 10%, but that's only because over 600,000 people left the workforce, and they are not claiming to be unemployed, but they don't have jobs. If they had actually been looking for jobs that they lost, the unemployment rate would be even higher. Now, the real unemployment rate, the government reported as 17.3%, which again is the discouraged workers and the people who are working part-time. That's a much better indicator of how bad things really are for a lot of Americans who are unemployed. But, you know, this idea that we need the government to do something, that the government should stimulate the economy to create jobs, it doesn't work. First of all, they don't really stimulate the economy. They give the economy a sedative, and they call it a stimulus. But, you know, government can create work. There's no question they can create work for us. But we don't want work. We want production. We want the goods that result from work. But when government creates work, they destroy productivity. We'd be better off without government-created jobs because in order for the government to create jobs, they destroy other jobs that were more productive. You know, a perfect illustration of this notion of government creating jobs to help the economy is the idea that the census workers are going to help. There was an article today in Bloomberg, and it starts off by saying census workers to jumpstart the employment market. And then the first line in this article from Bloomberg says that the census couldn't come at a better time for the American economy. I mean, what are they kidding? It couldn't come at a worse time. We're broke. We can't afford to do the census. It'd be better off if we can just postpone it. But of course, the Constitution requires us to take a census every 10 years, so we got to do it. But the resources that we're going to have to expend to take the census are resources that are no longer available to do something more productive. The cost of taking the census is something that has to be borne by productive members of the economy. If we could simply improve the economy by hiring Americans to count up other Americans, we can create a lot more jobs if we eliminate all the technology. You know, instead of using computers and calculators or whatever they do to figure out the census, why don't we just dispatch individuals to do it door to door and just give them an abacus to keep track, right? We'd have to hire 10 times as many people to do the census that way. That would create plenty of jobs. The reality was it would destroy more productive jobs that were necessary to finance an inefficient census. And that's all that these census workers are going to do. Sure, there are people that are unemployed, and people can say, well, they're unemployed anyway, so they might as well just be at the census. No, they might as well be doing something productive. We need to make things in this country. You know, we're deep in debt. We need to produce goods, export them to the rest of the world. You know, we certainly have a lot of infrastructure that potentially could be repaired in the private sector. There's a lot of things that need to be done. And simply finding make work for people doesn't do anything because they need capital. Where's that capital going to come from? The government doesn't have any. The government has to divert it away from the private sector where it would have been used more productively. What people don't understand is that as long as the government continues to undermine our economy, we're not going to get job growth. Right? I mean, I provide jobs. I provide 100 jobs or so. Why do I do that? Is it because I just want to give people employment opportunities? I'm an altruist? No. I'm running a business. I'm trying to generate a profit. And in order to maximize my profits, I have to hire workers. I need their labor to combine with my capital so that I can make a better profit. And what we need to do is we need to allow businessmen like me to expand and grow their businesses in pursuit of private profits. Because in so doing, they'll hire people. People will get good jobs. But when the government has extra regulation on business, as they put more regulations, they put more roadblocks in our path, as they tax profits with higher taxes like they're talking about with this new health care bill, as they put more regulation onto the economy, they erect barriers to creating employment. As the government continues to create inflation, they're chasing capital out of the country. They're destroying savings. Savings are necessary to provide businesses with capital to expand. Without access to credit, it's difficult for businesses to grow. Problem is the government is in the way. Whatever savings are there, the government is borrowing it. And you're going to hear a lot of positive talk now from the government again about the need for an additional stimulus for Main Street so that we can have more jobs. And we have to resist the temptation to introduce, these phony economic sedatives into the economy that we label stimulus. All we're doing is enabling our politicians to spend money and call it economic stimulus when it's actually a drag on the economy. These numbers are going to keep getting worse. I don't care how much optimism is going to be out there. We're going to keep getting disappointing jobs numbers because the government is standing in the way of real economic growth. The only way we're going to have real economic growth is to allow the private sector to create it. But it's not going to create it unless the government gets out of the way. We're not going to create it unless the government stops artificially stimulating the economy with cheap money and until we stop subsidizing inefficient businesses that ultimately need to fail to make way for more productive and inefficient enterprises that would replace them if the government would only allow it to happen. Anyway, that's it for today. I hope everybody has a good weekend. We're enjoying a beautiful snow here in the East Coast. So much for global warming. I know we're having a very cold winter here, and even down south, they're having a cold winter. But anyway, I will get over my cold over the weekend, and we'll be in better speaking form next week. Anyway, take care, everybody. Be back soon.